Iris, first of all, we heard there from a somewhat frustrated Mahmoud Abbas during this press conference, and a President Biden who was very eager to offer some kind of help and hopes for a brighter future.
Yes, it was an optimistic Joe Biden, a less optimistic Mahmoud Abbas. But I tell you one interesting thing. He said he was extending his hand in peace to Israel and calling for the restart of talks. We haven't heard words like that from him for years. In fact, the first conversation between a Palestinian leader and an Israeli leader in 5 years was on the phone the other day. So just the fact that we're hearing that, you could say you have to chalk that up as a win for Joe Biden. He said that it is his firm core belief that the only way forward is a diplomatic solution, a two-state solution for Israel and the Palestinian territories, each with a state side by side. Those words have also fallen off the radar. So it was good. I think the aim of Joe Biden's visit was to rekindle interest in this area, to tell both the sides that he is interested, that it's still high on the list of American priorities. And I think that's what he was trying to do in Bethlehem today. Just simply by visiting, there are not many American leaders who go in to the Palestinian territories.
Just on that point, Iris, this Friday has seen the US leader break some fresh ground by going to East Jerusalem and to the West Bank.
And in East Jerusalem, he gave a very moving speech. In addition to funding, significant return of funding, particularly to that hospital, which is a cause of his wife's, Dr. Jill Biden. In fact, he opened his speech by saying, "I'm Jill Biden's husband." And he gave a very moving speech about the dignity that Palestinians should expect, just as Israelis should. And so he tries to bring his values and to mend fences after the long period of paralysis that was the Trump years as well. I think you're hearing the helicopters overhead. He's flying back from Bethlehem right now, I would say, because I'm in East Jerusalem, directly on his flight path. And from here, he goes to Saudi Arabia.
Yes, Iris, he's now off to Saudi Arabia. But in general, how successful has the first leg of this Middle East tour in Israel been for Joe Biden over the past few days?
It was never going to be a breakthrough tour. It was going to be a reassurance tour, if you like. And I think he has done that, perhaps with more success on the Israeli side than on the Palestinian side. But nevertheless, he did remind people here that the Middle East is important and that it is higher on the US list of priorities. They aren't just interested in COVID and climate change and China, that the Middle East is important. And perhaps the war in Ukraine has had something to do with that, with bringing the Middle East back into focus for Washington. But I think the Palestinians were complaining more than the Israelis. They didn't sign. There was a strategic declaration signed with the Israelis, less so with the Palestinians. Nevertheless, he has visited. He is making funding declarations. He has made a commitment to reopen the consulate in East Jerusalem. They have heard that before, but perhaps now something will actually happen. So I think he can say it's been a successful trip.
Iris Makler, our correspondent there in Jerusalem, thank you very much.